Hello, Helen here. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to start off this card by doing some stamping of some poppies, as the title says, and I'm going to be colouring them in with Copics. So I'll start that off with a scrap piece of card in my Misti, and this set is called Poppy Gardens by Altenew. It's one of the colouring ones, so they're just outline stamps, and it's got two arrangements particularly in the set that I really like, so I'm going to stamp both of those. I'm going to be using Memento Tuxedo Black ink to do the stamping today because it's a Copic friendly ink, or any alcohol markers will work with it. And then I'll go ahead and do the colouring in of the red one in particular. I'm going to be using three different reds in the Copics. One's R22, R35 and R46, and I'm going to be using the lightest colour, and this is how I do the Copic colouring. Lots of other people do it in a different way, but I use the lightest colour and I do a flicking motion from the deepest part of the petal or somewhere on the petal that might be in shade, and I flick the colour up for where I'm wanting the second to darkest colour to be, if that makes sense, so that I'm making sure that I don't go too far with those next two deeper colours. So once I've done that, I go back and get the second to darkest colour or the middle colour, and I do the same flicking motion over the same part of the petal, and then I'll grab the darkest colour and I'll flick from the deepest part of the petal just up, not quite as high as I've gone with the other two colours, and I just find that helps blend the lightest and the next one down together, and it also enables me to make sure that I don't go too far with the darker shading and then your whole petal ends up a lot darker than you want it to be. So then I'll go over the whole petal with the lightest colour and blend the two together. I'll sometimes go back with the darkest and just do a little bit more just to deepen in certain places in the petal, and I do that for each of the petals. So I'll show you a bit more close up. This one's got a little folded petal, so I'm going to do the dark part from underneath that because that's where the shadow would be. And I do the same, I do the lightest first and then I do the medium colour, and then I'll go back in with the darkest and only just do little touches of that, and then I'll work my way back out medium colour and lightest colour going all over the petal. I wanted to do a shout out to one of the companies that I buy most of my craft products from here in New Zealand, just for any of you New Zealanders that may watch these videos. I've seemed to be buying quite a few things just in the last wee while from Crafters Cart, who are based in Auckland. They're an amazing company, and I just wanted to give them a shout out because they're always really quick with supplying products. They seem to have a really good handle on what's really popular at the time. You see a video of a new release for one of the top American companies and go and check on their website, and already they've got the product. Quite sometimes it's already sold out, but they get them back in really quickly. You can put yourself on a wait list, so just really great. And I've just had a problem with a product just recently, and they were really quick at replacing it, so I certainly can't fault them. I've just bought this poppy stamp from them, and I've also bought the opal polish, and it arrived within 2 days, and that's pretty good going for New Zealand mail because we're usually really slow here. I do buy all my own products for all these videos, and so if anybody's looking for craft supplies in New Zealand, please go to them. It's called Crafters Carts, but with a K, and you'll find them online. For the centres of the flowers, I kept it pretty simple with just 2 colours, Y15 and Y02. So I carried on doing the rest of the second flower and the little bud the same way that I've done all the previous petals. And then for the leaves, I just did the palest colour over all the leaf, and then just flicked the medium and the slightly darker green just underneath the flower petal, just where the shade would be. And those colours I used YG00, YG03 and YG63. And then once I'd finished all the colouring, I fussy cut that out. To go in behind my flower, I'm going to do a framed background. So I've got this Tailored Expressions circle cutting plate, which I'm going to cut out a piece of white card with, and I'm also going to make a frame to go over that. And I've got these inside outside rectangle stitch frames from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to use the 2 largest ones. I'm going to stick them together, just one inside the other, nicely spaced, and then cut those out to make a frame, and then I'll stick that over the cover plate and with double-sided tape, and then trim the surplus off. I decided to put some colour in behind my framed background, so I've got this new product from Cosmic Shimmer called Opal Polish, and it's in Lilac Rose colour. Now it's apparently changes colour depending on whether you put it on white card or a dark background. I really like it just because it's got a bit of interference and it looks very metallic, so that's what I'm going to do. The pot comes with a little sponge in the top. You just flick that off, and the polish inside's just lovely and creamy, so I just sponge some onto a piece of card. I think I may have been a little bit heavy-handed because I ended up getting a little bit of warping with my cardboard, which unfortunately shows behind the background, but if I'd been a little bit lighter handed with the polish, I think I wouldn't have got the same warping. I did try and put it through my embossing machine just to flatten it, but it didn't really make much difference, so I've just gone with it. I'm perfectly happy with how it looks. This product dries very quickly, so I was able to stick down my background onto the coloured piece with some foam tape, just so that I had a little bit of clearance between the two. And then once I've done that, I can stick that onto my card base, and that's almost the card finished. I will just then stick the cutout flower. I'm going to use glue in the centre part, but just where it overhangs I'm going to use a bit of foam tape on that as well. And then I just need to do the sentiment. I thought I'd try putting some really wide double-sided tape on the back of the background, just to see whether I could reduce the warping and make it a little bit more stable, and I'm not sure whether that worked or not. I don't know whether you can see the interference and metallic look to that background, but it's really beautiful in real life. To do the sentiment, I'm going to use a new stamp that I've bought called Mother's Day by Honeybee Stamps. I'm going to use some of the smaller lettering and put some of the phrases together. So I'm going to use my acetate grid just to make sure that I get them all in a straight line with the Misti, and I'm going to do it on black card with white embossing powder. So I cut the strip out with a sentiment on it, and I'm sticking that down onto the card with double-sided tape. Now you'll see to the side I've got another card. This is just a variation, and it's the other stamp that I stamped from the Poppy Garden set. I've coloured that in purples, mauves, and fussy cut that out, and there's also a spray up the top from the same set. But this one I've just shown you that you can do it without the background, so I've just done a really the same background and frame, but I just stuck it straight onto the back of the card, and that looks really lovely too. So you don't have to go to the trouble of doing the background if you don't want to. It gives you a couple of variations. So that's the cards finished today. I'd appreciate if you'd like subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll leave you looking at some close-up photos, and we'll see you next time for the next card. Bye for now.